Well, this is the old guy in Still River, and it's a pretty warm day for January, middle towards the end of January. A little thaw we're having, and well, I had some thoughts in the story. I took a drive down through Main Street, old Main Street. I don't do that often, and memories came back, and I could remember where there's old abandoned storefronts. There used to be 5 and 10 cent stores. The streets used to be crowded with traffic and people and men in fedora hats, women in dresses and kerchiefs and beehive hairdos. And it was crowded. It was before the days of the strip mall, the shopping center. So Old Main Street, the River of Tears, as I call it, was the mall. And you went shopping, you would go downtown. People say, where you going? Shopping downtown. That's where you went. And now there's I remember the matinees and the movie theaters that were decorated in fine old Victorian style, built, just before the turn of the century or even before, long since gone, all boarded up. They tried to restore one, and it's a haphazard job. It never got really done. Anyway, Old Main Street, not what it used to be. Not the good old days, as they say. And you see a few people shuffling around, in old trench coats. Few old folks going to an old coffee shop. That's about it. But I ran into Roland. Roland is 94 years old. He was in World War II. And he says he's been all over the world. And he was stationed in New Guinea for a while, in Australia. In New Guinea, he was the southern base of New Guinea. There was a northern base. If you listen to a previous story about a book called Lost in Shangri-La, the Lost Tribe, you would know. But he was in the southern end base, and natives lived there also. They weren't lost. They knew about the Americans. And him and his buddy and his outfit had to run a communications line about 3 miles into the jungle up to another outfit. And he said it was impassable. It would take them forever to run a line unless they went through the native land, which was cleared, and they farmed and stuff, and they hunted. So he said to his buddy, let's go talk to the chief. So he went to see the chief, who knew a little bit of English. I could post a picture of him. He had shrunken heads hanging off of him, a cross, and a Star of David. And he said they were cannibals, but in a different kind of way. And old Roland, he still drives. It's amazing. And Roland said he walked up to the edge of the tribe. They came out with machetes and spears. Finally, they let him in, and he went to see the chief. And he had to spend a couple of days with the chief. He said, I had to sleep in the same grass shack with him. And finally, they made an agreement, and they could run a communications line through, which saved a lot of time and effort and suffering. So, worked out well. But he went out with them one day. They hunted a big monkey out of a tree with blowguns. And Roland saw a little baby monkey in the tree. I guess it was the baby. So he climbed up the tree and put the baby in his shirt. And I got pictures of that. Roland showed me pictures of that. He said he also was in Australia, and he was in charge of escorting 34 Japanese prisoners. And they flew him in a fighter plane all the way from Australia to the island of Molokai in Japan. and during the war. So this was World War II. So Roland said he was married for 64 years. Unbelievable. He still drives, and he says he goes to Paris a lot. Wants to go to the Amazon and to where they have orangutans, Borneo. He wants to go to Borneo. I said, Roland, if you go, take me. So that's the story of Roland and the Cannibal, Still River Radio, January 2017.